And here are some level mods that I don't like. Now, I'd like to start off by saying I do like the way a lot of these look. They definitely put a lot of effort into them. So I'm still really impressed by the sheer fact that they exist. Like, this looks really cool. And we never really had a concept like this in an actual Sonic game, like, as in a 3D Sonic game, not that the non-3D Sonic games aren't actual, you know what I mean. Like, we've had Jungle Zone, for example. We don't really have forest levels in Sonic games. We tend to have jungle levels instead. But this is literally Sonic going around a forest jungle tree. But as you can see, it can be kind of awkward. How are you supposed to easily grab onto that hanger? Like, you have to run towards it. There's a reason that I use the start out with boost skill. It's kind of weird, like grinding on something that isn't a grind rail. Like, they probably just took a grind rail and changed its aesthetic. I don't know why the rest of the game doesn't do that. This is so awkward! Look, it's a narrow area. How are you expected to not run off the edge? I mean, this is cool until you boost into a wall and have to jump upstairs, like it's rooftop run. Seriously, I don't see the point of any platformer doing that. Like, there's no challenge. You just jump with your eyes closed. The best part about that section was the lightspeed dash. Instead of saying, now let's get the show on the road, Shadow originally said in SA2, now let's get this party started. Which sounds a lot like something Sonic said in Sonic Heroes. So it's not as in character for him as something that sounds more obvious, villainous, hammy-like. Why do they waste your time stopping you with the remains of caterpillars? The caterpillars in general here are kind of annoying. And I really do hate how there are slide walls. And like, you slide so slowly under them. Like, you can slide fast, but you have to have lightning fast reflexes for that. And in 2D, where they just sneak up on you, and you can't see them coming, you pretty much have to have played the level before. I don't think the slide should have even existed. Why did they get rid of the drift in Sonic Forces, and not the slide? I said that the script fell apart after Gerald's diary speech in SA2, but the thing is, it was just as bad as in the Japanese version. Gerald says in his last line, if anyone yearns for life to come, awaken him. If you yearn to. Life to come? That makes no sense. And Rouge still says, so that's why you awakened Shadow from the base. As if Eggman agreed with that plan. So you got the same problem. When Eggman calls Gerald a mad scientist, Amy's line is much better in Japanese though. She says, as if you're not, making it more obvious that she's trying to be rude. And as for this is Sky Troops from Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, I was actually pretty hyped for this level. If only because, like, I'd never played any level from Shadow the Hedgehog before, so I figured, why not start now? Shadow the Hedgehog wasn't exactly the best gameplay-wise. I heard it was pretty boring, actually. Not to mention it had extremely slippery controls. Yeah, this is a very ambitious concept. I kind of like the way it looks. Like, I like how it already looks a lot better than it did in the original game. It is kind of weird how it's a bright day sky. Oh god, these things. I really hate these things. I don't like the whole constantly having to homie attack on the same spring over and over again, making it rise up. It just feels like blatant padding. In the Japanese version of SA2, in the very end cutscene, Sonic says about Shadow, created to be the ultimate life form. Huh. That's the thing that he said to himself, just before Amy walked up to him. What was he thinking? Unfortunately, his line right after that is really awkward. To the planet as blue and round as me. He called himself round? Really? And see, here, the problem with the level design here is that you're boosting for a long period of time. So your Sonic instincts tell you to keep boosting. it would have been good design if you boosted into a wall so that stopped you before you had to homing attack into those things. But instead, your Sonic instincts tell you to keep boosting, and you fall, At least you don't fall to your death, but... And while classic Sonic gets launched with too much momentum from clouds like this, modern Sonic, or Shadow in this case, gets launched with too little momentum, and it feels stiff. Like there's a reason I had to boost and air dash it to get over to the clouds. Also, that was kind of awkward. Like, you were in 3D, you didn't get scripted to automatically fall into the cannon, so that wasted a couple seconds of my time. Like, people complain about scripting and Sonic aids, and I'm just like, doesn't it just prevent you from falling to your death from doing the wrong thing and make things go faster? Hey, look, it's the fans from Sonic Heroes. Did they use those in Generations? I forget. Okay, this is extremely awkward because this is a precise 3D platform section in Sonic Generations with the pathetic controls and the terrible camera. So it's kind of hard to judge depth perception and judge how far you should be jumping. And again, just like in Titanic Timber, you were boosting towards a hanger thing that you would slide down, but you weren't expected, and you tripped too, so that's not very good design. And here you boosted to a wall right away, which isn't exactly a good first impression. Like, and knee-high walls again. It's like Chun-Nan Wii all over again. And here you have to, like, why aren't there any guardrails on the sides? It's so easy to fall. Like, I know it's supposed to be a very, it's a very difficult 3D drifting section, I guess. You have to get the drifting exactly right, even though drifting isn't always reliable to begin with. I found this to be a very bland level. Like, it's so open, but because it's so wide open and yet also linear, it feels like there's nothing to do. It really emphasizes how you're just boosting ahead and that's it. People complain about narrow corridors in Unleashed, and I'm just like, this is the alternative, because, like, there are alternate pathways in Unleashed to Generations, even in the 3D sections. So it's not like it has to be, but alternate pathways doesn't change the fact that it's linear, because you're still heading towards the goal ring, you know? And it has to be linear in order to properly, fully take advantage of the boost gameplay, because you're boosting ahead, you're boosting towards the goal. By definition, that has to be linear, because otherwise you just boost into walls. Like, you boost too fast. It's not exactly good for exploration. Like, I've seen videos of this level being completed really quickly by speedrunners, but I don't know, I don't really, like, again, they put a lot of effort into making this, and that alone is very impressive, but it feels very boring. I don't even entirely like the way it looks. Like, what is it supposed to be? A castle, I guess? In the Japanese version, Eggman on the way to Cosmic Wall says he'll lose everything if he fails. Why? Also, he doesn't call Amy Sonic's girlfriend mockingly, so there goes that charming line. Yeah, this is really weird. I just hate it when level mods don't have the courtesy to make a level entrance on the hub world. Because then you have to just, through trial and error, try to figure out where exactly the level is placed. Like, they didn't even make a title for it. So I forget what this is actually called. I think it's called Snow Ice Mountain or something. Yay! You jumped through the rail. Can you do that normally? I hope so. That would be convenient. But yeah, isn't this basically like Ice Cap? Isn't this basically a reimagining of Ice Cap? Because, like, Ice Cap had the same aesthetic. Why don't they just call it Ice Cap to make it a lot more appealing, rather than an original level that... I forget if it... See, right there it didn't feel very intuitive. They had to keep going to the right, and then you would have the camera turn around, and then you'd be able to wall jump in 2D. It just kind of looked like you were suddenly put to a 3D section, and suddenly it had to turn to the... It had to turn up. Okay, here, that was an awkward transition to 3D because you were drunkenly veering to the right, off the edge. And precise 3D platforming in a boost game? Really? Not to mention the camera is not very good here, so you basically blind jump because the camera moves up when you jump like in the Game Gear games, so you can't see what's below you when you jump. So good luck landing on those tiny platforms. I think I hit an invisible wall and that's why I died. Yeah, I wasn't exactly too motivated to play through the entirety of this level. It just felt kind of badly designed. Not as badly designed as the previous ones. Remember when I said earlier that you can play as Classic Sonic in 3D in Generations? They just didn't make you do it in the main game? Well, here you go. You can actually play as him in 3D. The problem is that he's extremely slow compared to modern Sonic. Like, the 3D sections were very clearly designed around modern Sonic, and not like Adventure Sonic. So, like I've heard that spin dashing in 3D crashes the game, at least in the Unleashed project, anyways. Because, well, I'm going to try spin dashing in 3D a lot in this level when I'm done with it. So you'll see the results of that. Like, it's so disappointing that it wasn't programmed right, because if it was, then we would have basically had adventure gameplay in Generations somehow. And so we could have basically gotten adventure levels from just modders putting Classic Sonic in 3D sections. Like, this game came so close to pleasing all 3 sections of the fanbase, and then decided to only appeal to 2 of them. And even then they kind of botched Classic Sonic because he constantly uncurls. Like, Forces kind of does that too. Like, we all thought that Dreamcast Sonic, or at least some of us thought that Dreamcast Sonic would be in it to appeal to everyone, but I don't think Sega's are that much masterpieces at marketing. Like, they're still just trying to appease the critics, not realizing that they aren't Sonic fans. But yeah, I do like how they actually bothered to, like, put actual 2D sections in this, because I think it was fully 3D, except for the wall jumping area before. I don't know, it kind of feels a little bit changed for the classic variety. And of course I had the homing attack skill equipped, which really came in handy here. Because, you know, he moves extremely slowly, he's very tedious to use in 3D. He just doesn't feel designed for it in this game. Even though he transitioned perfectly into it in Sonic Adventure, but because you can't spin dash in 3D very well. Like, look! The camera glitches out! Like, for some reason the game just doesn't know how to handle. We've come such a long way from Sonic Adventure in 1998, haven't we? We've gotten to a point where a game released in 2011 can't handle spin dashing in 3D. And it really sucks too, because spin dashing is the only way Classic Sonic can go fast aside from dash pads. Particularly in this game. So it's like you want to spin dash, but you can't really do it in 3D. Like, this is really cool looking, actually.